Welcome to GRAF480 Senior Portfolio. Hi class, my name is Michael Maldonado and I'll be your instructor for this accelerated version of the Senior Portfolio. I say accelerated as you know this is a summer term, 6-week term as opposed to the standard 8-week term. That said, it is a somewhat condensed course, so it's basically, I would say that it's really important for students to absorb all of the weekly material, specifically paying attention to the resources that are included each week. To a very high degree, it can be said that the success of a portfolio doesn't only reside on the quality of the work, but it also resides on the quality of the presentation. That's why we're here, guys. So at any rate, I thought I'd start this kind of introductory thing. I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and then we'll go through this kind of hit list of FAQs, if you will, regarding portfolio. There's some things that a lot of design students don't really understand about portfolio. I know back when I was in design school, I didn't understand portfolio. So I said to that, at that point, I said to myself, well, when I teach portfolio classes in my education career, I am going to make sure that students understand everything that the reasoning behind portfolio. So here we are. At any rate, as I said, my name is Michael Maldonado. I'm a Master of Fine Arts. I have been practicing graphic design for the last 25 years professionally. I also run a studio. I'm a creative director, art director, and studio head. My studio's been in existence for over 20 years. I've got international clients as well as national clients, and basically been working pretty much with the same clients for the last 20-some years. I've got a few designers in my firm. I pretty much depend on a few main designers as well as myself, which I'm mainly anymore at this point in my career, I play mainly the art director slash creative director for the firm. So at any rate, here we are. Guys, the first thing I want to mention is something about myself, okay? I'm not here to talk about myself by any way, shape, or form, but I do want to mention that I am an extremely approachable instructor. I'm really super engaged. As you guys will find out, I like to use a lot of video. I think it's the most engaging way to deliver materials in the asynchronous online platform. I do a lot of critiques via video. I do a lot of things via video. So if you're the type of student that doesn't want video critiques, just let me know. I'll be glad to transpose my critiques into text for you. No problem there at all. Whatever you prefer is perfectly fine with me. I'm a really super nice guy, folks, and the reason I say that is don't ever hesitate to contact me for any of your needs whatsoever. I'm a click away. I typically get back with students in a matter of hours. You'll never be waiting more than a few hours for a response from me. And the reason I bring this up is so that I just want you to feel comfortable knowing that I'm just a click away, okay? I think a lot of students hesitate to ask pertinent questions for fear that they're not going to receive a response in time. You won't be waiting for me, guys. I mean, I'm pretty much immediate on them. I mean, every day I'm very engaged, as you will find out. Let's go through this hit list of FAQs, as it were. So we can get an idea of where we're at and where we're going. Why create a portfolio? It's easy, guys. Our portfolio is our avenue of presenting ourselves to a professional design community in attempts to becoming part of that community via being hired as a professional designer. Go ahead and read this, how to create a portfolio with these easy tips. These are our links, guys. Click them, and they're really fantastic resources. Where do I start? Okay, this is really important. You start by selecting your work. This is so important. Now, this is to say that we should be thinking concurrently in terms of selecting our work for portfolio, revising our work for portfolio while working on our resumes and our cover letters. So the reason I say that is because the first assignments in the class have to do with finding an ad, responding to the ad, using, developing your cover letter and your resume. You should be working on your portfolio concurrently. So since we don't start technically introducing revisions to our portfolio work until week 3 or so, I highly recommend that you start looking at your work, decide what you want to include, decide how you want to revise it, decide how you want to incorporate it, and all while you're working on your resume and your cover letter. Okay, if you don't understand that, get with me. This does a great job at describing things. And then, of course, we have these wonderful assets right here by way of these resources. Should I photograph my work? Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Including digital files like this isn't enough, guys. You want to actually print out the work. In this case, this designer has a cover, a book cover, a dust jacket, dust flaps, the whole hardbound cover right here. It's a dust jacket that fits around the hardbound cover. That's digital, but it has been printed out and mocked up into an actual book, and it's shot creating a more engaging presentation. So as you can see here, we have a combination of digital files as well as photographed physical three-dimensional files. Okay, so definitely want to photograph your work. These tips right here do a great job giving you an idea of how and what to do in terms of photographing your work. Should I include a written description of the work? Absolutely. This does a good job of describing what to include. And then, of course, these examples right here show. And just to note, this second and third example are just detail shots of this, specifically the typography at the top of the page. And the bottom of the page, it is illustrating the inclusion of the category and title, as well as detail in the objective concept software and fonts mentioned for use in this particular project. How often should I revise my portfolio? I'll tell you what, guys, I've been practicing design for well over 25 years plus. And I've probably revised my portfolio at least 100 times in that period. And I mean that. I mean, I revise my portfolio probably 4-5 times a year, every few months. And the reason I do that is because it's important for me to represent myself in my current state of proficiency. So theoretically, we are always evolving as designers. I'm a better designer today than I was 2 weeks ago. Subsequently, I'm a much better designer than I was 2 years ago. You see what I'm saying? So I don't want work in my portfolio that's 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, because it just doesn't reflect me as a designer anymore. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not pertinent anymore. It's a great idea to keep a fresh approach, identifying yourself as a designer and evolving, showing your evolving work as a designer. So yes, absolutely, revise your portfolio often. Should I brand my portfolio? For sure, guys, absolutely. So a really great way to think about this is your branding package. Now, as designers in your student career, you have likely taken a branding class, which you developed a student logo, as well as your business card, letterhead. If you didn't, that's okay. We'll do it in this class. We'll do it. We'll develop a simple branding system for yourself that you can employ in your cover letter as well as your website, okay, and your social media. Okay, so yes, you should brand yourself in your portfolio. So think about it like this. I'm a hiring professional. I get a cover letter either via email or via US mail. I open a cover letter. It's on a branded letterhead, stationery, right? And it has a resume in it. And it asks for requests a viewing of the portfolio. So I read the letterhead and I say, wow, that's branded. Then I look at the resume and it's also branded with the designer's branding. Then I say, yeah, I'm interested in seeing. So the designer sends me a link to their portfolio. So I look, and that's all branded according to the designer's preferred branding and current branding, right? It's very impressive, and it's a great way to get yourself noticed. Okay, I'm going to stop this, or end this, I should say, in practice, practice, practice. So what does that mean? That means that when you're portfolio presentation, you want to practice talking about your work. Absolutely, you want to make educated statements about your work when that situation arises. For example, when I interview potential either interns or even designers at my firm, I oftentimes ask questions regarding the portfolio. Okay, here's the kiss of death for an interviewee. If you're sitting down in an interview and the hiring professional or the creative director or art director for that studio says to you, hey, can you tell me what fonts, like for instance over here, okay, okay, tell me about the fonts that you used. It's a combination of fonts. I see you're using a sans serif with a serif, and that's interesting. Can you talk about that a little bit? And if the designer says, well, yeah, I mixed a sans serif with a serif because I thought it, okay, do you see where I'm going? Now, contrast that to this situation. Same question, designer says, Oh, absolutely. I used Caslon and Marriott for this because I wanted to mix a traditional typeface with a more contemporary depiction of the author. And then talking about it educated like that. That's what you're after. You want to know your own work inside and out so you can uh, inform the viewer in a situation that questions arise. So yes, practice, practice, practice. And over here, I have a little, right here, this is important. Consider writing a summary of the work for each piece in a presentation. This is for you only. Don't share the summary, but include notes regarding your intent, methodology, concept development, color palette, colors used, meaning behind the color, color choices, layout choices, and fonts used. Be ready to describe the fonts used and the reasoning behind the choices. Memorize the summaries. Be ready to give informed reasons behind your decisions. The reason I say that, and you should write this out, and I still do this to this day, I've got a written summary for every piece of my portfolio. I often read through those until they're memorized. Once they're memorized, I'm ready to circulate that portfolio because I am educated on my own work. Does that make sense? If not, let me know. I'll be glad to clarify. All right, guys, I'm over 10 minutes. Didn't want to do that, but I do want to welcome you to the class and then just kind of reiterate, please don't ever hesitate to get me with the questions. A lot of questions are going to come up during this class, guys. A lot of questions. So as I said, when I was a student, I was really very surprised by the whole portfolio process. So I want to keep you guys one step ahead of any surprises that happen to come up. Okay, fantastic. Thanks for listening, guys. Welcome to the class. Looking forward to a great term. Thank you very much.